Were you friends? Or...
I'm not your new mother, if that's what you're asking. But no one's a pathfinder until they've path-found something. Sorry, my face is tired from dealing with everything.
Mass Effect Andromeda is out this week, so obviously people have been losing their damn minds. This game seems to have some terrible animations, voice acting and writing. Not good for a BioWare game. But now that the reviews are out, is it really that bad? Apparently, kind of, yeah.
Mass Effect Andromeda is the latest entry in the long-running sci-fi RPG series developed by BioWare for PS4, Xbox One and PC. Released on March the 21st in the US and 23rd everywhere else, it's an action RPG where players take control of Scott or Sarah Ryder, members of the Pathfinder Initiative, who are searching for a new world to colonize in the Andromeda galaxy. Gameplay is broadly similar to the previous Mass Effect entries, and players can expect to explore planets, encounter alien species and engage in third-person combat. But combat has been revamped with focus on freedom and movement rather than the strict cover-based system used in previous games. Players will also be able to explore environments using a land-based rover called the Nomad, a feature inspired by Mass Effect 1.
So early impressions of the game emerged last week and the signs weren't good. Critics were mostly negative in their 5-hour first impression pieces, and of course there was an explosion of criticism, memes and GIFs about the game's animations from the player base based on the 10 hours of gameplay some people got via Origin Access. The full reviews went live on Monday, so have things changed since those negative first impressions?
Well, apparently not that much. John Walker from Rock Paper Shotgun, who led the charge with one of the most negative first impressions last week, also gave a pretty scathing review on Monday. He called the game a timid and tepid tale, too heavily reliant on what came before, too unambitious for what could have been, trapped in a gargantuan playground of bits and pieces to do. Walker had strongly criticised the game's stiff animation, tedious quests and awful writing in his first impressions, even going as far as to say it's some of the worst writing he's ever seen in a game.
So Walker wasn't a big fan of the game, and a few other critics weren't that hot on it either. Destructoid awarded the game a 6.5 out of 10, saying it doesn't really feel like a Mass Effect game, but more like a spin-off.
GameSpot gave a 6 out of 10, saying the combat soars but the storytelling sputters, making the series' first venture into uncharted space a shaky but occasionally satisfying new adventure.
Games Radar gave 3.5 stars and said it's not a disaster, but definitely not the fresh start this series needed.
Eurogamer didn't score the game or award the game a recommended badge. They said combat crackles and the worlds are lush, but mediocre writing and tepid quests add up to what is probably BioWare's worst RPG yet.
In possibly the most positive review, Steve Wright of Stevivor gave the game a 9.5 out of 10, calling it superb, easily jettisoning Ryder and the crew ahead of Commander Shepard and his team.
Finally, PC Gamer gave the game an 80 out of 100 and said Andromeda is marred by inconsistency and in need of a polish pass. This vast new sci-fi frontier nonetheless rewards dedicated exploration.
So it has been a very mixed reception on this game, as we perhaps expected after those dire first impressions last week. It's still fairly early doors for reviews though, and Andromeda currently sits at a 75 on OpenCritic and between 75 and 78 on Metacritic, varying slightly per platform.
So this kind of marries up with our first impressions, which we did in our video earlier or later on last week. Some people are praising the gameplay and dissing the animations, and other people are saying the exact opposite. So I think that's the biggest takeaway, is that it's such a mixed bag. Based on these reviews, it's so confusing. You don't know how you're going to like it.
It's going to come down to your tolerance of things like bugs, facial animations. It depends why you play games like this as well. Obviously, in a BioWare game, storytelling is a huge part of the appeal. That's where it comes down to, whether or not you really care about really bad writing and stuff like that. If you can overlook that, if it's in the right genre, for example.
I was brought up in the 90s. I was a 90s gamer, okay? One of my favourite games from back in the day was The Secret of Monkey Island. That was a point-and-click adventure game, and that was one of my favourite games growing up as a kid. There's no voice acting in it. There's no facial animations. Comparing that now to Mass Effect Andromeda, just in all aspects of the game is probably better, other than the storytelling, from what I can see. If this game was released 10 years ago, people will be lauding it. People were saying it's a lot better than what was being released 10 years ago. If it was released 10 years ago, would we have loved it? Would we still live it now? We don't have fond memories of it. Is it because it's just being compared to things like The Witcher 3 and Horizon Zero Dawn? Is that the reason why we're jumping down at stuff? Because we expect too much. Just give me a good game with good gameplay that I'm going to have fun playing. I don't care that there's wonky animations and people walk like gorillas and stuff. That doesn't matter to me. Like, get over it, guys, and just enjoy the games for the gameplay. I just want to play devil's advocate here because there's probably a good game in there. Just stop being so nitpicky.
It is kind of technical polish that it's missing, though, isn't it? I mean, if you're going to do a massive RPG like this, you need good writing. You need to execute the animations properly. You need to tell the story in a way that doesn't make your audience laugh. Your target audience shouldn't be finding the dialogue funny because it's so bad. That's a very poor state of affairs.
So are you a hardcore 90s gamer like me, or are you a petty millennial like some of the people criticising this game? Let us know down in the comments below. Petty millennials ruining our games.
Let us know how much you think we're cucks down in the comments. Or, you know.
Nah, I hate the word cucks. I think it's just people bandwagoning words. They just
they
get a big bucket of bucket and just throw in these like SJW, cucks and all this, and like, oh, everyone's using these words. I'll just throw them indiscriminately at all these bullshit
Anyone
places.
Makes you a little bit sad.
Yeah, I don't like this guy. What have I got in my armory? Yeah, there you go, cuck. SJW. Yeah, fucking. What else have I got in here?